Okay, 12 Angry Men, directed by William Friedkin. And this is a TV movie, a remake of a 1957 movie, I believe. And I've seen the original, but it was a while ago. And I think this is pretty faithful to it. So this is it's a pretty good movie. It's basically kind of showing how our justice system is supposed to work, as especially around the idea of reasonable doubt. So there's this guy, this really young guy. I think is he 19 or 20, I think, and he is being accused of murdering his father with a knife. He is in jail, or he's in the courtroom, and of course in jail, but and they show the judge. The judge is the president from Battlestar Galactica. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then they break for the jury room, and almost the whole movie takes place in one room. And I thought Friedkin did a pretty good job. I mean, it's pretty entertaining. I mean, maybe it's a little too long, but you know, it's unfolding. At first, almost everyone votes guilty except for Jack Lemmon, and then slowly more people begin to have reasonable doubt. Now, of course, the idea is they don't know that the guy's innocent, but that's not what you have to prove, because obviously in our justice system, at least you're supposed to be innocent till proven guilty. The onus is on the state to prove their case, and if they don't prove the case, then the default is you're innocent. So that's kind of brought up, not in those words exactly, but multiple times. I think Jack Lemmon says because they're like, well, so George C. Scott, I think, says, well, the boy didn't prove that he's innocent. Jack Lemmon says he doesn't have to prove anything. And I think someone says, well, I think George C. Scott says, well, then why didn't he take the stand and explain himself? And then Jack Lemmon's like, he doesn't have to do any of that, and that's true. You don't have to take the stand, and that can't be used against you, which is a great thing about our justice system. You know, you have the right to remain silent with the police and in court, at least criminal court. And so yeah, I mean, this is it's an entertaining movie. I think everyone should watch it, especially if you're American, because it breaks down a lot of in our justice system, and unfortunately, I think a lot of people don't know these things, but it's important to know. So this is another Friedkin movie. I've been reviewing a bunch of his movies since he passed away, unfortunately, and I think this is a solid movie. I think it's very entertaining. Some people, it's very talky. I think the original, is it based on a play? It seems like a play. I mean, I'm sure that they've done these in plays. And, you got a great cast. I mean, you got James Gandolfini. You got Ossie Davis, who's in a bunch of stuff. Courtney B. Vance, Armin Mueller-Stahl, Hume Crum, Jack Lemmon, George C. Scott. I love Jack Lemmon. He's one of my favorite actors of all time. He's such a good actor. I wonder what he was like in real life. Unfortunately, a number of these guys are gone now. But I've always liked Jack Lemmon. A really good comedy with him from 1960, I believe, is called The Apartment. So it's really good, pretty funny movie. You got William Peterson, Edward James Olmos, Tony Danza. So, and yeah, the judge is Mary McDonnell. But yeah, just an amazing cast. It's fun to watch these guys work. Especially George C. Scott, he gets really heated and he gets very angry. Um, you got Mike Kelty Williamson, who he's an actor I've always really liked. He's in Heat. He's got some great scenes in Heat. Oh yeah, Forrest Gump. That's right. He's Bubba. That's right. So, um, yeah, and basically there's more doubt that's brought up. I'll get into spoilers now. So, it's it's brought up that he has a knife and it's very distinctive, and people say that this knife's very rare, and then that and this knife was found in the father and he's dead, and this guy was seen buying the knife earlier, and then earlier he showed it to his friends that night. Then Jack Lemmon pulls out the same knife and saying, like, last night I couldn't sleep and I was walking around. I went into a shop, like a pawn shop or something, and ended up buying the knife. And it is the same knife, looks exactly the same, so it's not that rare. But the prosecutor presented it as rare. And it's also brought up that maybe the defense attorney wasn't that good. Maybe he wasn't trying that much. He didn't really push back that much, like on that. It's easily disprovable. And then there's some other things like the kid didn't remember what movies he saw that night because he and his father had a fight. They were yelling at each other. He left. He said he went to go see a couple movies, and came back at like 4 a.m. or something. He couldn't remember what movies he saw or the actors in it. And Jack Lemmon I think it's Jack Lemmon, kind of asked some of them some questions about, well, what did you do like 5 days ago? And this guy's like, I saw a movie, and then he couldn't remember the name of the movie and the actors in it. And I do have to say, I think that's kind of weird. It's like, even if tragic events happen, you go to see a movie that night, and then something happens later in the morning, but you can't remember what movie it is or who's in it. It's a little odd, but he was being interviewed by the police, like, near the scene of the crime, and, Lemmon brought that up, and, you'd be pretty shaken, so I can understand that. And then, slowly throughout the movie, more reasonable doubt's introduced. One of the guys in the room, let's say, has some bigoted attitudes towards the guy that's being accused. He's basically just shown as he just wants to get this kid just because of who he is. He did not what he did, which isn't right. And in the end, the guy basically, says, okay, I'll go not guilty just because everyone else is gonna. And he's like, okay, you are all so smart, I'll just trust you, basically. It seems like not a very nice guy. That's no way to vote in a jury room. To Tony Danza kind of just wants to get out of there because at 8 o'clock he has tickets to I think the Yankees, and he's kind of shown that he's just, he votes guilty in the beginning, and then he goes to not guilty, and he's kind of just like, well, I just want to get out of here. But in the end, he feels bad about that, and then he really votes not guilty because he thinks the guy is innocent. And he just leaves his tickets on the table for the Yankees. So, and George C. Scott's really like the engine for guilty. Jack Lemmon's kind of the engine for not guilty. And slowly more votes go to not guilty. It's shown that there's an eyewitness. It's a pretty weak eyewitness. They're seeing the killing through an elevated train. They're across the street. The train's going by. They say that they see him, stabbing. It's established that she probably wasn't wearing her glasses, so you can't really trust her eyesight and her opinion. So slowly, it's like these things are kind of thrown out, and George C. Scott still brings up there are some things that point to guilt, but in the end, it's not enough to convict. Reasonable doubt is established, and I would agree too. Like in the beginning, some things are pretty cut and dry. Like this guy does seem guilty, but it is holes are poked throughout. And like Jack Lemmon said, he's like, well, I don't know if he's innocent, but I know I can't vote guilty. So, but yeah, it's an amazing cast. I mean, pretty much everyone I've seen in movies except for Hume Crone, but he's been in a bunch of stuff though. But yeah, I've seen this remake before. I enjoyed it then. I didn't know it was Friedkin, which is why I went back and watched it, because it's William Friedkin. And he apparently has a movie that I think just came out, so it's his last movie, so hopefully I'll be checking that out. Hopefully it's good. But Edward James Olmos is really good in it. He's a watchmaker. Another Battlestar Galactica connection, because obviously he's Admiral. And yeah, in the end, even George C. Scott votes not guilty. George C. Scott has some problems with his son. He says his son's ungrateful. They haven't talked in years. They had some huge fights. He basically sees his son in the guy who's accused of guilt. And in the end, I think in a really amazing scene, he gives up that hatred, and who was it? Armin Mueller-Stahl, who's been in tons of stuff. Yeah, Eastern Promises, The 13th Floor. Let's see, he's a German actor. What else is he in? Oh yeah, the X-Files movie. That's right. I knew. I was like, man, he is in a movie that I've watched a bunch of times. What is it? Yeah, that's right. He plays one of the one of the powerful rich men that are discussing the alien and the alien virus. Kafka, just tons of stuff. I mean, his career goes back to 1956. But yeah, he basically says to George C. Scott, let it go, let the boy live. Really, really amazing scene, very powerful. And George C. Scott is given 110%. I mean, he is really just he's such a good actor, such a powerful actor. If you haven't seen Doctor Strangelove, watch it with him in it. I mean, it's a comedic role, but he can do drama, he can do comedy, he can do kind of anything, and he does. And in the end, they all vote not guilty. So yeah, another good Friedkin movie. I definitely recommend it. I think, at least for me, it shows some of the good things about our justice system. It's not perfect, but it has its problems. But it definitely has some good things too. So, but yeah, that's about it. Really good movie. Check it out, and like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you've seen it, if you enjoy the movie. That's about it.